Making this for Patreon. This is going to probably be unlisted. The purpose of this video is just to get ideas out there. This is stuff from my personal notes. Hopefully I won't go up or down because I try to keep that private until it's either finished, and just to keep it organized for those who I'm putting together information for. So the first thing I want to mention is the pyramid. So if you look at the pyramid, okay, the pyramid is generally it's one of these, right? Just get a good sampling of what it looks like. And originally I thought that the pyramid of Giza, the Egyptian pyramid, had two pyramids, but I was apparently mistaken. There's no information on there being a second pyramid. But what there is that there's information that the pyramid of Giza has electromagnetic energy in this portion of the pyramid. Okay, so let's think about that for a second. Why would that be the case? And so in my notes, I've been calculating what this might entail and why that is. And the conclusion that I'm starting to draw is it has something to do with the triangular shape. So the energy is moving throughout the universe. It goes into the point, and then it gets spread out because of the object. And the detailed sciences will be explored at some future date by some other person or myself. Just this is the bare minimum that you need to know. And so that energy gets spread out. In the case of the pyramid of Giza, the energy gets stored at the top. So I was wondering to myself, what's the deal? Some dialogue that I wrote. Okay, anyways. Basically, the hypothesis is that if you were to put another pyramid, what would happen is it would create a conduit. The energy will go from up here down here, and the energy will be stored up here and down there. And the other hypothesis is that the energy will go through here, and it'll shoot down here. So it'll be a conduit, like a storage unit, and the energy will go downwards. So that's the hypothesis. And the reason why I obviously have to base things off hypotheses is because mainstream scientists don't want to explore this territory, because it's too dangerous, because it involves ETs. What if the Egyptians were in contact with supreme intelligence that told them to build these pyramids for the sake of advancing their own technologies and so on. So that's my theory for why it's not really explored. But a second pyramid would take the energy from up here and divert it down. And so the other theory or hypothesis is that the energy from up there would be diverted down, but it would get lost. So the purpose of having one flat pyramid, right, is for the sake of keeping the energy stored. Stored in a singular pyramid. Okay, so then I was thinking, how about we invert it, right? We create a little inversion. So the second pyramid has an invert. And I realized this wouldn't make sense. Rather, you stick with the other hypothesis of having two pyramids, but you invert one of the pyramids. Okay, yeah, I didn't really finish that part. There is a way to do it, though. Right here. You invert one of the pyramids, and then you get this guy over here. And I was like, whoa, this is actually an interesting design, and I've seen spaceships that look very similar. And this came to mind. Different manufactured vehicles, right? So the first thing that came to mind was a spaceship that looks like the Batman vehicle. Maybe the Batman vehicle has a flying version of this that reminded me of it. Because a lot of things in fiction are actually correlated to the spiritual, to the abstract, and therefore it's probably true in either some dimension or in the future that we just haven't utilized yet. And this is a fictional work. Okay, and this is another fictional work. And this is nonfiction, and people are trying to say UFOs are from this weird-looking vehicle that goes extremely fast. But I don't believe it. I think UFOs are real. And I'll explain to you in a second. So, hold on a second. Oh, okay. So I've been doing some research on a man named, I don't want to give, okay, a man named Grebennikov, a Russian scientist who was, his findings were suppressed by the government, but he was about to write books, and they were threatened by him, so they shut him down. But what he found is that you can look it up. When you apply the CSEs, right? When you have a concealed vacuum or concealed area, then the electromagnetic energy doesn't function the same way. So the reason why UFOs are circular is because they're trying to create an enclosed area, right? To make sure nothing gets in, and they have a specific material, specifically metal. Or some kind of metal-looking object, so that the electromagnetism could be applied readily. Grebennikov did was he discovered. Oh, I wrote this. ETs are harnessing their UFO technology using this. That's something else. You may be able to study trees, because what Grebennikov discovered or hypothesized, but maybe he has better evidence, is that the bugs, the big bugs, big beetles, shouldn't be able to fly. It doesn't make sense, and so there's a non-rational component to the flight of insects, or these big insects. And he says that it has to do with anti-gravity qualities. And I was like, what is he talking about? How is there anti-gravity qualities? He must be mistaken. And then I realized, no, he's probably not mistaken. He's probably onto something. The same way plants can keep themselves alive by attracting the light source to them, a randomized generator generating light, positional light. So too, the beetle can harness anti-gravity mechanisms so that his wings are not a hindrance on his own survival. So it shouldn't make sense, right? The same way Wim Hof is able to defeat the cold, it doesn't make sense. So what it comes down to is the will of your own soul or your own consciousness defying regular matter, right? And that's kind of how evolution also takes place. So it's a very deep esoteric slide. It's turning into something that is not explored by scientists. But what he discovered, and that threatened the Russian government, was that you can defy the laws of physics the way we understand them. And he defied propulsion. And so I suggested there's always an anti-gravity component related to the psyche and the user. This could also mean that your belief in the mechanics of gravity getting altered is partly how it works. Right. Okay. That's true. But what point did I want to bring out? Oh, he jumped. I think it was 1,000 feet per second. And he said there was no wind on his vehicle. And so my theory is that he was holding on to the device, and so he created a containment field. Maybe it also has to do with the electromagnet, the circadian rhythm. He used his own body as a kind of a containment field. And it could be dangerous because let's say he let go for a split second, then it could be dangerous. So I was thinking that would be scary, if he got split apart because he didn't know how it works. But supposedly this happened, and the evidence, assuming it's not faked, is that the camera couldn't record it. So it messed with the camera in real time. So if we do make cameras that could prove this, we would have to make sure that it doesn't mess with the imaging of it, because it does somehow time gets distorted, or the way a camera picks up things gets distorted. So that's something to watch out for. Okay, that just night mode went on. Happens around this time. 6:16, interesting. Egyptian pyramid does not seem to be a square pyramid. Yeah, and that covers the basic stuff. So this is an unlisted video. Probably going to be unlisted. I'm going to put it on my Patreon, and there'll be a link to it. Because, this is just half-baked stuff that I just came up with, but I want people to get a sampling and to start building on it while they're fresh, while these ideas are fresh. Okay, have a great day, and good luck with your research and getting this out there in a way that's going to really be received well.